Hey, good morning. Hey, everybody. I got Rob Commadori here this morning. Hey, Rob, how's it going?
Good. How you doing today, Moy? How you doing today, Ron?
Rob is an author, great guy. He gets up early. He's taking the challenge. You'll see something different in the videos today. You'll see this QR code. So, like I say in our landing page, when we talk about this first commitment of getting up in the morning and working for 3 hours, you have really what we want you to do in that time is to use the accountability tracker. You track all your results from yesterday that you logged in today. Now we'll send you an email. You do that for 30 days. It'll give you that 90 hours. Rob, when I originally started this thing, I was looking at writing my second book. And if you guys Google Rob, he's got a great book out there. And I was looking at my time, and I never really had studied my time. Like people talk about time management and time blocking and things like that. And I was doing time blocking, but I never really studied like how the compound effect of time, right? And I was getting up at 5:30, and I was like, where am I going to find more time to write this book that's going to be 3 times the size of my first book? Just so I knew what I wanted to write about. And where am I going to find this time? I'm looking at the time. I'm kind of dead in the evening. It's got to be morning. Okay. What if I do an hour early? What if I get up at 4:30 instead of 5:30? What if I start work at 4:30? I get up at 4. I start work at 4:30. But I looked at that hour and I multiplied it out. Okay, 365 hours. Wow, that's 15 24-hour days. I was like, oh my God, that's a ton of time. When you add it up, it's like 15 full 24-hour days. Like that's where it's got to be. Okay, now how am I going to guarantee this? I was drinking like once or twice a week. And I was like, I gotta that's gotta go because I gotta cut that out. And I looked at that time. I was like, holy cow! When you add all that time up, so what's something that's out of the ordinary that you found? I feel like as we get older, we start realizing these kinds of things. If you're younger and figure it out, you're gonna be way more successful earlier, right?
Yeah.
What's something that you have found that you have to put into your day that's not like brushing your teeth? Most people say I got to brush my teeth every morning. Most people. What's something that's out of the ordinary that you?
Yeah, well, it may be out of ordinary for some, and maybe not for others. But one thing I do every day. It's the first thing I do every day when I get up. I go in my room. I turn into the scripture. So I'll read. I'll do some prayer time, and I'll meditate. I'll meditate for. I read for about 10 minutes, and then I'll meditate for about 20. And I actually have this. I was telling you, I have this little talk to God time. I use Bob Bodine that wrote this book, Two Chairs. And so I sit in one chair, and across the desk on the other side is a chair facing me, and it's empty, but I visualize God being there, and I have a conversation with him. And I ask, first I thank him, and then I ask him for whatever I need to ask him for that day.
And is it, do you go into that with a clear mind, or do you have things that have been weighing on you?
It could be either or. I mean, there's gratitude. There's sometimes you worry about being redundant, but I don't think he minds that. He says, come to him, and ask him whatever you want, ask him as many times as you want. But sometimes there's things that are weighing on you. And that happens frequently. And, one of the things I'll share this, one of the things, I heard this from a guy who was in recovery, and he said, he goes, I have a simple prayer. And I said, what is that? He goes, help me. That's it. Help me. Sometimes I'll say, help me be better. Help me be a better husband, father, son, whatever. And I don't think that's a bad prayer. Help me.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it's a great, simple prayer. We talked about me. I'm not too religious, but I feel like I am spiritual. So that's something I'm going to get that book that you talked about and sort of read into that. But I want to, we don't have to do it today, but maybe in the next couple of days, actually hear that. If is that a private thing, or is that something you can share?
I can share. Happy to share it. I don't have a problem with that at all.
There's another thing I do. I ask myself this usually before I get vertical. It's usually like this morning. It was laying in bed. My alarm clock goes off at 4:00. And then I've got to where it's natural because I do it every morning. Every once in a while, there'll be something in my thought process that keeps me from. I heard this guy James Rembrandt give this presentation. Maybe like 2 years ago, And he said this simple phrase that just grabbed me, which was, "What future are you killing today?" And I mean, I just could not stop thinking about that. What future are you killing today? And the whole idea was that you were going to make change today and kill, that the worst future, right? The future that wasn't going to achieve you, get the high achievements that you're shooting for. And then, so I ask myself that every day, and then, like, so real simply, kill all the bad habits today, so that you have this amazing future that you're driving towards, that you've promised yourself you're going to achieve, or you've set goals to achieve that. But I even got, like, I was like, well, I gotta kill, like, every day I get up and I hold myself accountable to these commitments, and hold myself to, 0 bad habits in my mind. My wife would probably say I got a couple bad habits, but by general standards, I think my bad habits are pretty low, right? But every day I got to go even better. Like, so I want to kill what would for most people be a good day, but every day chip away at everything, So I ask myself that every morning. What future am I killing today? At the beginning of asking that, there were a bunch of things that, like, okay, well, that's, I got, if I keep that. And for people that smoke or drink or eat bad or drink heavy, I don't think moderate drinking is bad. It just, for me, it was a time thing.
Yeah. Ron, if I could jump in real quick, you said a couple things twice already this morning, made me think of the same book 2 times. You talked about saving all that time, an hour a day, 365 hours a year, 20. I forget how many days you said
15,
that was.
15 full days.
15 full days, and then you talked about killing the future bad habits. So I read this book years ago. It's called The Slight Edge. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Mm-mm.
And he talks about, if you want to get better at something, just take 0.03% time every day to work on something. And if you take 0.03% of a day, the decimal is 0.003. You multiply that by 24 hours or whatever, 1,440 minutes. It's 4.2 minutes a day. So if you take 4.2 minutes a day, you work at something. At the end of the year, at the end of 365 days, you become 100% better at doing whatever you were doing. And so a funny story, years ago, my son, he was in the 5th or 6th grade, whatever it was, and he got hurt playing basketball. He got hurt. So the only thing he could do was work on dribbling and foul shooting. He hurt his foot. Bryce has his growth plate in his foot or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to him, dude, all you need to do is take 5 minutes a day and work on your dribbling. 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Man, I pull up from work one day. I hit the button. My garage door goes up, and here's my son. He's got a tie around his head, blindfolded, and he's dribbling the ball between his legs and around his back. And he said, "Dad, you told me just work on this 5 minutes a day." And Ron, when he got back, he was the #1 ball handler on the team. He could dribble lights out around through circles around anybody. It was so cool to watch that. One of my favorite stories.
Yeah, that's amazing. I had a friend. I can't remember Dan's last name. He was training a guy with Down syndrome to run the Ironman, and did it and made it. And I was the first guy, and that was their thing: 1% every day, get better 1% every day. And there's this famous Paralympic skier that coined the phrase 1MT, 1MT, one more thing, one more time. So at the end of the day, he would go out and he would do one more run, one more time. He would do one more thing each day. It's the same kind of right in that genre of that little bit of, of thing. So that's great. You got a bunch of stories with your son and kids, and how they really kind of you've rubbed off on them, right? Like a lot of the kind of things that you do of reading and.
Yeah, it's Ron, if I can share another story, I don't know how much time we have here, but years ago.
Minutes.
What's that?
About 3 more minutes, and we'll be here every morning for 30 days at least. So,
well, it's funny you said that. So years ago, I don't know if you ever heard. It was in the book that I wrote, but I my father gave me a glove as a hand-me-down when we were 5 years old. When I was 5 years old, we didn't have much. Anyway, I got this glove, 5 years old. Now I'm 34 years old. Never played a game of catch with my dad. And I wanted to play a game of catch for Christmas. So I find this glove. The story's 15, 20-minute story, but I'll give you a 2-minute version. So I can't find this glove for 6 months. I finally find it. I write my dad a poem about playing catch. And so we ended up playing catch on Christmas morning when I was 34 years old. So I transposed this poem on the picture with me and my dad playing catch. So last night, we picked my son up 2 nights ago, as I told you. And yesterday for Christmas, he gives me a picture of him and I playing catch 2 years ago at Texas Tech when we dropped him off. And he wrote a poem asking me for a game of catch. And it was you talk about rubbing off, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. We can get into it a little bit more tomorrow. If you're watching this video and you're here live, check your attendance. Go to 430psycho.com. Read all the commitments. The whole idea is to look at how you're spending time. Get you off the TV 2 hours at night. Spend it with your family. Spend it with your kids. Spend it with your significant other. Do stuff in the community. Nurture those relationships. Do big projects in the morning. Work your full day. Just kind of a whole realignment of your schedule to fit 90 hours in. Take care, Rob. Hope to see you tomorrow morning.
You got it, buddy. Have a great day, Ryan.